Could see them now go for Wukong, take away the Pantheon, make sure Svenskeren can have these very aggressive things. And we actually had Candy Panda talking about this anti-Pantheon setup, where they always go down to the bot lane, pop the tables under the turret to the enemy, and then Svenskeren comes down with the gank.
Well, there's the Lulu taken away. This does mean Ziggs and Nidalee are still out there, and Fnatic are one of those teams that tend to lock in the mid laner first. So Fnatic are having their choice of what they're going to take away. It's going to be the Kale, which is nRated has been running as support lately.
Yeah, so they actually make sure no Kale mid here, and obviously no Kale support for nRated. We actually saw the lane with them, how strong it was, as long as you can always push it up to the turret. Very hard to gank because you're so mobile. The blank ban against someone like xPeke, really like that.
Yeah, well, we saw obviously Alexic running it against Jesiz to great effect yesterday, pretty much destroying that SK comp. But Cyanide has got the say this time around. It's the Evelynn first pick for Fnatic.
And actually, despite him saying he didn't really enjoy playing Evelynn, still taking Evelynn away from Svenskeren here. So much pressure early game. And the way for SK to counter this, unless they can predict the movement, counter ganker, they need to get inside the jungle of Fnatic, get some deep wards there so they can see Evelynn when she's clearing the camps, get some vision, know where she is, and then also play safe from there. But Evelynn is so annoying to deal with due to her stealth.
Not Trundle available as well. Not Renekton currently being held for SK Gaming. We'll see whether Freddy chooses to stick with that one. He's been playing a different bunch of champions, as you mentioned, the Aatrox, the Jax as well earlier on today. So we'll see which one he does choose. Renekton on that table means it's generally the first pick.
Renekton is just a lane bully, that's the thing. We actually see the Nidalee possibly coming in here. The one we talked about could be banned away, but now SK don't want to risk Fnatic having this poke combo with Nidalee, so they take it early on for Jesiz. He's a very good Nidalee player. Also LeBlanc is gone, which is one of the champions who can actually kill Nidalee in the lane. And with the Renekton, you will have the pressure up top lane. You will win this lane as long as you play it properly, and as long as your jungler is ready to counter gank if something happens.
So let's see if Rekkles and YellOwStaR want to get their lane locked in, because there's nothing for SK Gaming showing just yet. Or will it be xPeke? Will he go with that Ziggs? What would you go against the Nidalee? I mean, you kind of want a bit of range to go with it.
Well, there's different options. Assassin-wise, you can actually get a lot of farm against Nidalee because she's a weak laner.
Gragas a bunch of times as
Gragas
well. Yeah.
works against Nidalee. Hard to get a kill on her, but still, you can always farm and you can actually set up fights with the Gragas later on. You scale well into the late game, provide both some wave control and also a lot of siege potential. So there's a lot of options because Nidalee, she's a weak laner until she hits the level 6 point where she can really start doing something. So there's a lot of options for Fnatic actually.
Will we see that #1 pick combo of Lucian Thresh for SK Gaming here? Candy Panda has gone with a bunch of different AD carries. Hasn't tended to go with the standard that most people run with. You can see the Caitlyn, of course, for Rekkles there, and Trundle in that top lane for sOAZ.
And funny enough, actually, if you look at the SK side once again, they actually pick both solo laners as the first two picks. So they're giving them away, save the bot lane, save the jungle pick. It's simply meant for Fnatic. They could take their top laner now, save the rest of their picks, possibly something like a hard engage support if we see a Vayne from SK side. And also, they can leave, obviously, the mid lane pick for xPeke, so they have no idea for SK side what will be played there. But the Trundle against the Renekton, a bit hard for Trundle early on, but he will outscale him and he will become very strong. And we know sOAZ, he loves to build Blade of the Rune King and just stay in this lane and try and beat Renekton.
And speaking of that Pokemon, we did talk about the Caitlyn going alongside the Nidalee. Lucian does almost as good as job, not quite, but it is that Lucian Thresh combo, the #1 pick combo in Europe so far.
It's just overall such a strong lane. It's very hard to deal with. You have a good damage, you have good range, you're very safe, you have your dash, you have the lantern. It's generally very hard to do anything against this lane, and also the fact they can push early on, get level 2, push down the enemy dual lane to their turret, and then just start denying them CS. So overall, very strong, and also obviously Lucian scales well into the late game. The same goes also for Caitlyn though.
Morgana maybe thought about. We saw one of those big plays by YellOwStaR at the top of the show, and it was all about YellOwStaR landing that Dark Binding and the help he had. Ahri maybe well locked in here. We haven't seen xPeke playing this one for a long time. Like, I'm trying to think when it was the last time. Of course, we saw Shifter playing it in the North American, making some big plays against Team Solo mid for Coaster.
And he actually killed Bjergsen in the mid lane. 1v1 against the Gragas. This time around against Nidalee with Ahri. Nidalee will most likely be bringing barrier, making it a bit harder to kill, but you have so much pressure and you can also push out the lane and then roam. Together with someone like Cyanide who will be stealthed, go down to either the bot lane or the top lane and set something up.
How was Elise all the way through? Crazy.
Well,
Evelynn was first picked in there, they just didn't need it, so Elise one of the #1 jungler picks, which actually Cyanide does favor heavily. So taking away each other's jungle champion.
Yeah, I definitely feel the Evelynn pick for Fnatic is simply to take it away from Svenskeren. It's not to say our jungler lost this champion, he's so good on it, because obviously Elise or Wukong have been the main junglers for Cyanide. But yeah, it's simply meant for SK. They could delay this pick, they could just take whatever else they want. That's why also we saw the 2 solo laners first. They really wanted to make sure that Nidalee was in their hands, and they didn't have to deal with this very annoying poke.
Overall, Fnatic and SK have seemingly got the champions they require. Both actually got quite a lot of poke as well. How do you see this one falling?
Well, looking at Fnatic's combo, it's a bit of everything. They have some counter engage with the Morgana, obviously also the Caitlyn. They have some poke with Caitlyn. And also Ahri, you have this pick potential, you have this all-in potential. So they have pretty much everything in the combo, but nothing fully focused on like heavy engage or heavy siege. So they have pretty much everything combined. SK side, obviously when you have Nidalee, you focus on poke. You want to poke before you actually start the fight, because you don't want to go straight into it. And then they have this very tanky Renekton, and they have Elise who can obviously go tanky. And then with Lucian, he can do pretty much every role you want him to. So again, also for SK actually, they have a bit of everything.
And keeping your eyes on them summoner spells, sOAZ has got teleporters away. We'll see how that one works out. Our players are poised to get this game rolling, which is a good time to check the numbers on LoLesports.com. The voting has been picked, and it is 72% in favor of Fnatic. That's a big vote.
Big surprise actually, because SK Gaming have been looking very good. They are a strong team at the moment, so we should give them a little more credit, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's just simply the Fnatic fan base is huge, that's for sure.
It is, definitely.
And of course, as a reminder, you can get tickets here. These teams here at the studios in Cologne, Germany. You'll find the link at the top of the page over at LOLesports.com, if only I could say the name of the site. So take a look and come join us.
So we need to have a look during this game. Can Fnatic actually go to late game with this combo? Trundle will outscale Renekton. I think Evelynn, I would at least prefer Evelynn late game compared to an Elise, because you have so much pressure, you have good engage potentials. And also, we have obviously Ahri against Nidalee. It goes kind of both ways. You want the poke on Nidalee late game, but Ahri's all-in is also very strong. And then you obviously have the Caitlyn and Morgana going into teamfights, going into the late game. Very, very strong champions. So Fnatic, I see it going in their favor if you go to the real late game part, but SK, they definitely have the tools to win the game before that.
See how these lane phases work. Both these teams are capable of coming back if they lose the lane phase. They've definitely shown it. SK Gaming have shown a number of times that they can make the game go long if they need to, but I feel they're going to try and push some pressure onto Fnatic. Fnatic themselves, well, they're 2-1 in Super Week, as are SK Gaming, so both looking to try and make it a decent record. While the opposition, of course, Fnatic have managed to turn it around a little bit. They managed to keep themselves relevant. They were in danger of really sliding away for a long period of time. They went about that 8-game losing streak. It's not something they wanted.
Definitely not, but they've been doing a good job coming back from this one, and they show some confidence signs, and they have actually been very strong as a team. And then we just, in this game around though, we have to notice, oh, who got you onto Rekkles?
Rekkles getting caught out here. Is it going to be enough? They're going to try to put a lot of damage on him. They will see him going in the bush here. Can he Panda may well follow through on this one. The Ignite is down. Is it going to be enough damage? I'm not too sure. He's going to be safe from this one. Didn't manage to land it in there, so he does back away. Rekkles is safe for now, but SK Gaming getting some deep wards in there. The rest of the team are lining themselves out, and Jesiz, of course, has landed one of those spears on Peke. You can see Peke taking some damage away from them. But summoner spells, nothing too major there. No barrier was used. We do see nRated, of course, with that Ignite was burned, but Rekkles didn't panic. He was pretty much safe. So Doran's Blade items for everybody. Doran's rings for the mid lane, Doran's shields for the top lane, supports. We do see Cyanide starting off with the blue. And of course we also have a pause here. So we're just saying, looks like it's Rekkles actually. He's just saying, this doesn't seem right. I had to back to my base before the minions got there. So I think he's just wondering, guy, referee, he's not allowed to do this. He's not allowed to try and get first blood on me at the start of the game. I think he's maybe giving a little bit of talk, man. We'll see how it works out for him, Rekkles. He's looking a little bit nervous, I gotta be honest here, Rekkles. Seriously, with that referee alongside him. We'll see how it works out for them. At the moment, though, we are just waiting for Rekkles to sort that out. We're not too sure what the issue is, whether it's a client restart. I'm guessing with the referee looming, and nobody really going for any pieces of equipment. There we go, a summoner has reconnected. We can see them, and they have got themselves back in the game. Any moment now, any moment.
So, looking at the early stages of the game, we don't see too much. We have standard lanes, 2v2 of course, and we just have to pay attention to Evelynn early on. Will we see Cyanide put some focus onto the top lane, try and help out Trundle get a good start here with the teleport, of course, against the Ignite from Renekton, so it can be very scary for sOAZ if he's left alone.
Oh. Rekkles is still waiting for something and hovering his ear off, so we're not going to give anything away for him, but we should maybe talk about that sOAZ teleport, because this is a big difference between the two top laners. Freddy is either going to have to look to interrupt it or run very quick.
So basically what you want to do as Renekton, obviously you push the lane down to the turret all the time. You make sure that he's pressured down, you can actually dive him even if he drops low. And then if a dragon is about to come up, or if you want to contest the dragon, you start moving as Renekton. Obviously Trundle, he can stay in the lane with his teleport and just teleport down if needed. But that's where Renekton is shoving him out, moving down towards the dragon, and then he joins the team that way. And late game wise, having this teleport is very, very strong for Fnatic, because it means they can always split push and still join in for the fights. And SK don't have that option.
Oh, nRated does actually finally land it. Cancelled the attack animation now, which is entirely possible, especially as Thresh. It's very easy to do as Thresh actually, because it's quite a long animation.
It's a very long, very slow animation actually. You do hit pretty hard though when you actually decide to land your auto attack due to your E, due to scaling up there, so you have a lot of damage early on with it, especially if you want physical damage runes.
Keep your eye on Freddy. He has been going that triple Doran's build, which I noticed pretty much everyone has started to adjust to now in that top lane.
It's basically saying lane dominance, and it's saying I want to make sure that even if I get ganked, I can actually either turn it around or at least make it away safe, because you get so much early HP and also early power. It is basically just very strong for the lane and getting the farm, and we should actually expect to see sOAZ do the same, because he often plays to win the lane.
Well, Svenskeren's coming looking. He's coming in towards this bush. There is no wall placement there, which is why we're seeing SK letting them back up a little bit here. Fnatic and Rekkles and YellOwStaR forcing them back, slowly going in there. Gets the hook on towards YellOwStaR. Well, Svenskeren shows himself very early this time around. He has got that cocoon, remember. Not going to land it. It flashed from YellOwStaR, but Svenskeren taken very low here. A lot of damage going down on him. The Ignite is running. I'm not sure it's going to quite be enough, though. He should be able to get away from this one.
I actually like the fact that Svenskeren went in to try and force the flash away from YellOwStaR. He did get caught by the binding though, so he was forced to have to back off himself. But every single game he's ganking the bot lane first. At level 3 he goes down there. Cyanide actually trying to sneak in and see if he can find him.
Yeah, he was hoping he'd gone further up by that tower, but he actually recalled right next to it, so Cyanide not going to get in there, but he will steal away the white.
And we need to see here again, Cyanide, he's been farming. He want to get a few levels before doing anything. And oh, binding actually almost catching on to Candy Panda.
Yeah, he dashed actually in almost in the same direction, which was not ideal. Cyanide now making his move down this river, looking towards it, and Candy Panda will certainly be the target.
Oh.
Dark Binding again. Goes through the goalpost, doesn't manage to land on nRated or Candy Panda.
If they landed, they would have forced the flash, maybe even gotten the kill. But Cyanide, he's still sticking around. Candy Panda is actually down to 50%, and the Lantern is now on cooldown.
Yeah, he's going to take that Lantern. He dashes away as well. There's a good play on Cyanide. There's a good return damage here, and nRated in trouble. He's going to turn it back around. Candy Panda trying to keep them at bay, but that was a really good counter, and Cyanide, he's licking his wounds.
A lot of action here in the bot lane early on from the junglers, and actually both the junglers, same result. They drop low, have to back off, have to recall to base. Svenskeren now, he was the first one to gank. He's now continuing farming, while Cyanide, he has to go back. He's falling a little bit behind, but it's not too much here and not an issue.
sOAZ doing a little dance, happy there. He's just been back and got himself a chain vest and teleported back in towards the top lane and dances around for Freddy, saying, it's your turn, Freddy, you go back and buy.
And that's one of the benefits from teleport early on, because you can actually drop low, you can use all your mana, recall to the base and then teleport in without losing too much. So he's using the teleport early on to the full advantage. Of course, if there is a dragon fight now, which we shouldn't expect, he can join in.
Heavy pressure from Fnatic, of course, in this bottom lane. This is due to Cyanide showing his presence down here. Candy Panda very low, getting away from that Dark Binding nRated, taking it in for the AD carry, but they will clear out this wave. And in terms of farm between them, it's only 5 CS difference.
But look how much pressure Fnatic is putting onto SK when they actually shove the wave all the way up to the turret. YellOwStaR, he's trying to fire out the binding. If they actually land onto Candy Panda, they will force a summoner from him, and that's very scary for him, and it makes it a lot harder for him to actually get the CS he wants to under the turret.
So triple Doran's items have been picked up by Freddy. We'll see how that develops up against that chain vest of sOAZ. Mid laners are both returned as well, and actually the Chalice was picked up by Jesiz, but Peke went the opposite route for the Athenes.
And notice one thing here. Notice here, we actually talked earlier about how you need to ward against Evelynn. There's a ward at the Wolf camp. Svenskeren, he walked by it, not being stealth, spotted out, I mean Cyanide of course, he was spotted out and they pinged it so they know Evelynn is in this top area. And that's very good ward placement from SK. And then going to top lane wise, Chain West early on from sOAZ, I like it. It's the standard route against Renekton. You want to stop some of his early game damage, and the Chain West is the best option for it.
Cyanide coming round and again spotted out, this time by the SK pink ward. Cyanide won't spot that one, so they know exactly where he's just been, where he's warded, where he's backed away. So Jesiz is feeling safe, Freddy feeling relatively safe. He knows he's actually close by, and look at that, they really are just pinging the exact route that Cyanide is taking.
It's such a smart play. Freddy, of course, he's very overextended, but he is level 6, so he will be able to at least try and survive. If a gank should happen, there's not enough CC to bring actually from Fnatic's side in a gank before Cyanide. He is level 6 himself.
Well, he's baiting this one out. Svenskeren is coming over as well, so they actually want to try and force a play. Svenskeren's just hit level 5 as well. Freddy and sOAZ are going at it just up the side there. Svenskeren about to come around the side. They're just trying to bait. They know Cyanide is nearby. He's trying his best to bait this one out. Still holding on to that Dominus. There's the Dominus. There's the Cocoon. Lands on Cyanide. Expertly played there. Repel out from Svenskeren. Not going to get close enough. He does go towards sOAZ. Spear comes across from Jesiz. Lands in there. Svenskeren taking low because xPeke comes in. And first blood goes for Fnatic.
And the fact that Svenskeren didn't have his flash meant he couldn't actually join in instantly as he landed a Cocoon. And there was also a ward on him, so Fnatic knew that SK was trying to bait this fight out. Very good play, and xPeke comes around, picks up the first blood. Can he stop this blue buff?
Well, Cyanide is nearby if they need to smite it away, but they want to try and land it with a spear. They started it off, they've not got a ward position, so they don't really know the exact spot of it. This one won't go to xPeke.
So the very smart ward placement again from sOAZ, very experienced, because he knew he was pushed down, he knew there was a chance he would get dived. And now hook on to YellOwStaR.
Hook on YellOwStaR, will they follow it through? They do get a little flay on there and just a little burst of damage from Candy Panda, but Rekkles is still applying that pressure on towards Candy Panda.
He's simply just doing a very good job using Caitlyn as this lane bullet as she is, always poking away onto SK with the long range, and obviously YellOwStaR, he's just hammering out the bindings every single time he has the chance, and if he lands it, you get a lot of poke. You can also put down your trap with Caitlyn, and so you're binded, then you're trapped afterwards. That's a lot of CC and a lot of damage you will take.
That was a little check there from Jesiz through the spear to the red buff. And actually Svenskeren will know that that red buff is up. His blue buff himself was just warded out here, so Svenskeren is going to get watched out by this one. They're already pinging it out, so they know the position. Not sure if they're going to be able to counter it.
Well, despite actually Svenskeren dying up here for the first blood, he's still slightly ahead of XP compared to Cyanide, so if they should meet again for a fight, he will be able to do a lot of damage towards him. But beforehand, we actually saw very good rotation and movement from Fnatic to counter this bait from SK.
Well, I'm sure they'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but some sunny day it will happen. Svenskeren goes in towards that dragon. He, of course, on Elise, can tank out this dragon, using those little critters that he's got alongside him. And this will be SK taking the dragon. Oh, will it? Cyanide comes in. The culling comes on. YellOwStaR hooked in there. He's going to try and back away from us. The Ignite is running. Vanishes to the dark, binding on towards nRated. But the dragon, is going to go to SK Gaming.
And very good move from SK, because xPeke was actually recalled to the base, so they knew he wasn't there. And also, due to the fact that they didn't actually have a pink wall, so it could be risky start, but simply because they knew they had 4 members to the 3 members of Fnatic, felt safe, took it. And we talk about how Elise can have this objective control, this dragon control early on, because she's so good at taking them down, she's so good at getting the kill onto them with her execute and a smite. She's also very tanky when it comes to tanking them.
Yeah, and this is why Elise is one of those top favored champions. We heard, I think it was actually Cyanide earlier on today that was talking about it, yesterday, sorry, saying that it was, yes, Fnatic versus Millennium, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Talking about how RNA had no chance at really beating him out in that smite fight, because he could easily just Q, get them fangs along with that smite, so he's always going to have much more damage.
And that's the thing with Elise, you don't really have a weak point, because you have a CC, you have some good single target damage, good dragon control, you're strong pretty much throughout the entire game, so Elise just is a very overall safe champion and very good, and so he's dancing away again.
He's dancing, he's happy in the top lane, it seems. He's a player that actually doesn't appreciate tanks much, but it was just bait. He's going to go on towards it. Cyanide comes in. Freddy should be able to slide away from this one. It's another bait again, a counter bait. Not going to catch on towards Cyanide this time with that Cocoon, but Svenskeren is going to march in there with his spiders.
But SK is definitely expecting this camp onto Freddy. That's why Svenskeren is there always when something happens, and why Freddy didn't use his dash at all. He was just waiting for Fnatic to come closer, and now they're actually going very aggressive onto sOAZ.
There's pressure on every single lane here. You can see SK trying to siege down the top, Dark Binding landing on the bottom, and again the charm and damage from Peke landing on towards Jesiz in the mid. Every single lane contested heavily by both these teams.
And we actually saw how much damage Ari can still do as long as he lands the charm, so he gets the 20% more damage. And then the Q followed afterwards. We saw it actually took almost 50% of Jesiz before. That's very scary.
sOAZ is in trouble. The Ignite's running. He may well go down from this one. Will he get taken down? One more hit. He needs to bite on. Svenskeren makes sure of it. Jumps in there and gets the kill.
So SK are winning out in this 2v2 duel. Renekton is such a strong combo. Fnatic can't actually do anything in the straight up fight. A bit like we talked about earlier with Elise and how strong she is. And also the fact he's one level ahead of Cyanide.
Well, Peke is keeping a lot of pressure on this mid lane. The turret will go down. It's the first one of the game. And Peke completely dominating that mid against Jesiz.
Nidalee is a slow laner. She's fairly weak. We actually also had Cyanide into saying she was more or less just a caster minion in the early stages because you don't have any damage, you don't provide any CC to set up ganks, and it's more or less just been Peke, full control of the lane, and now with the turret down, we can maybe see him rotate somewhere else, possibly to the top lane, trying to kill Freddy.
Well, bottom lane, we see Panda getting 2 auto attacks on towards Rekkles. That is the bonus, of course, Lucian has if you get close enough. But very even between these two bottom laners. It is an assist for Panda, which will make up that little gold deficit they've got. And you can see they've both gone for those Bloodthirster builds items first off. Cyanide coming around to cover off Jesiz. Just going to make sure he stays away from that tower.
Cyanide, he just needs to get the XP here. It's very good for him. He can get the entire wave because Peke is recalled to base. Actually have the DFG already. Very early pick up for him, so if he can catch someone out, he will have so much burst, and every single squishy member from SK will die as long as he lands his combo.
Dark Binding nRated, not followed up. Rekkles more interested in making sure he keeps up those farming creep score numbers. And he has got 119 up against 106, so it's working well. Blue buff for Peke. That will be going across, no contesting from SK Gaming. We do see Jesiz, he's just gone back on himself out of Fiends and Holy Grail.
So Jesiz have some early magic resist and also the mana regen he needs as Nidalee. Once we see SK actually grouping up, starting to throw down the spears, starting the whole siege they can do with Nidalee. So very good pickup. Now Cyanide coming towards his top lane. There's no pink ward, so he's not spotted out.
No vision at all, but Svenskeren seemingly with his sixth sense already heading this way. He's going to be taking that red buff to start with, but he is close by if needed. That red buff going down very quickly now.
Generally just a very good start actually for Svenskeren. He's been having everything he needs to. He's actually going towards the Wraiths here, so he won't be joining in for the top fight if something should happen. sOAZ is a level behind compared to Freddy, so we will see if they want to go for it or just trying to play it safe.
Now that he's gone that deep, he's going to go for it. He's going to catch on towards him. There it is. The subjugate goes down as well. So he's going to keep the pressure on towards him. Does use that dominance. He's running for his life. He's got the help coming up the river. Jesiz is making his way up there. The flash was used, but again, a flash from sOAZ as well. So a good counter. Freddy making a great escape. And
we actually see one of the issues for Trundle in this matchup because he puts up the pillar and then Renekton can dash through it. And instead, for Cyanide, sOAZ, he has to run all the way around it, and it means he can't really join in instantly unless he actually flashes it straight away.
They're trying to set up a gank on Peke here. Svenskeren completely missing. But look at the burst of damage. Oh, the spear! He manages to use the Spirit Rush. He's going to land straight back in there. He can get back on towards Peke. Not going to land this time. Oh, he does! The red buff, I think it was, that was ticking there, got Peke down. He lost his life for it, though, but it was worth it.
Yeah, he managed to shoot the very last auto attack when Peke was trying to escape away, which killed him. Yes, okay, Svenskeren went down, but a good move from him. And Jesiz means, this means for Jesiz he can just push his mid lane now and try and get at least down to 50%.
YellOwStaR actually, the hook not going to land because he uses that black shield. Panda caught out, and he's going to take that quick lantern to get away. So, Peke, use that DFG on towards Svenskeren, but you just saw the power of Elise. If you walk into one of those bushes blindly, you can do a hell of a lot of damage.
And he's gone for this early magic pin build as well, so he will have a lot of single target damage. Whoever he catches out, it's a scary combo for SK. If they land a cocoon, followed by a spear from Nidalee, and then the burst from Svenskeren, you can pretty much kill anyone. And Jesiz, simply also due to Peke dying, could now take this mid turret. And then we also have to look at YellOwStaR. He has double buff now in this bot lane. Let's see if he can set something up.
That was some good, quick work from Jesiz to take that tower down in the middle because it was barely touched. Blue buff now gone across towards him. Peke does not have that blue buff, remember, because he just lost it out and he was just actually trying to take a look across there. There is a pink ward from SK Gaming. That dragon is back up and SK trying to make a move for it, but Fnatic are ready. We already see Freddy. He's heading down the river.
And Peke is actually doing a smart thing, joining the team down here from the south, trying to go up towards the dragon so they stay together. if a fight should break out, they don't come in from different sides, which can be risky. And we do actually not have a teleport on sOAZ, so he won't be able to join in.
Spear lands on YellOwStaR. Dark Binding counters that from Jesiz. The charm on nRated. Will they follow through? They get a good bit of damage on towards it. Freddy is still waiting. He's in that death bush. The dragon down to half health. Dark Binding still not landing. Fnatic are giving up on this one. Cyanide thought he could get a cheeky smite, but SK take it.
Wisely enough from Fnatic, they don't go in for the fight simply because sOAZ doesn't have to teleport, so he can join in. And also they actually get some good damage, might even the turret here.
They may well get it, but at what cost? Rekkles does not get caught out. Fortnite might well flash through, but that's 2 towers for a dragon. That's a good trade for Fnatic.
Yeah, sOAZ, he stayed up top, he got the turret down, so very nice move from Fnatic, getting down all the outer turrets from SK very early on. And it's very, very good when you have Evelyn, because it means you can go into the next side of SK's jungle and you can actually find these pink wards they've placed, clear them out, and make it even harder for them to spot out Cyanide if he's moving around. So
Peke taking away the wraiths while Jesiz keeps that mid lane pushed out. Svenskeren takes his own wraiths away, and that's keeping the farm actually very even, which is a great job for Jesiz, honestly, keeping up with Peke on Ahri.
We've seen this with Nidalee. We actually saw with Peke yesterday against LeBlanc. He fell behind early on, but once he got level 6, once he got a few levels, he could actually start farming, and you have some good wave play even in your cat form. So it simply meant that he could start catching up, and now Nidalee will really start shining.
Just trying to bide his time. Freddy going on towards sOAZ there. Cyanide close by, Svenskeren close by. Everybody from SK pushing on towards his top turret. They take it without no problem.
And both teams are just so good at the rotation around. So whenever there's a chance of a turret, they just grab it instantly, and that's why we have so many turrets down already. And a fight onto Freddy.
Yeah, they're going to go for Freddy this time around, and quickly we see Svenskeren and Jesiz turn back around, but Freddy's in trouble. Dominus is running, but is it going to be enough? Oh, the cocoon lands. Cyanide gets caught out. Freddy survives. Svenskeren gets the kill. Great turnaround for SK.
Very nice counter game from SK. They didn't recall yet, they just started to back off, and now charm onto Svenskeren.
Big burst damage on Svenskeren, but not enough from Peke. And that means that SK Gaming keep themselves that advantage. Bottom lane, you can see tower being pushed here by Candy Panda. We do see YellOwStaR coming down. Dark Binding does land on Candy Panda despite using that dash to try and get away. But Candy still got himself some free farm, and look in the jungle. You can see it is going to be nRated and Jesiz both moving their way down here. They want to bait out YellOwStaR. They want to push towards him. There comes nRated. The flay does not land because the Dark Binding was down there. He's not trying the black shield. It's not going to be enough. And nRated actually getting stunned out here, but SK continued to push.
And SK Gaming, they saw Rekkles in the mid lane, that's why Candy Panda, he stayed despite YellOwStaR actually coming down there, and he just pushed down the turret. The rest of them came for the gank, but Black Shield onto Morgana makes it very hard for Fresh to actually set something up.
He carries fighting for the golems there. nRated using that lantern to pull Candy Panda away and saying, come on, you've had enough farm, let's go buy something, which is what he's done. He's got himself that Bloodthirster. The Trinity Force is well underway as well. Meanwhile, Rekkles, while he's going towards that static shiv possibly, we'll see whether it works into. Freddy gets himself the red buff in that top lane along with that Warden's Mail with that Ravenous Hydra he's been building up. Meanwhile, Blade of the Rune King for sOAZ along with that Chain Vest he bought right at the start.
I actually like the fact SK gives the red buff to Renekton. It gives him the chance to 1v1 sOAZ for even longer. So they want to make sure that he can stay in this lane, he can still dominate and farm against sOAZ who has teleport. So if we get to the point where sOAZ will beat out Renekton, that's the issue for SK, where they need to do something else on the map. So they're wisely enough giving red buff over, and the Brutalizer will give some good early damage as well for Freddy.
And that's actually a giant part of SK's strategy generally. Freddy holding his own in that top lane. We have seen Svenskeren going up there a bunch of times helping out with those ganks, but he is keeping it up very well with sOAZ and keeping in control. You can see in terms of farm, he's got a 30 CS difference, he's got them 2 assists, it's working wonders for him at the moment. And
it was the whole tactic, as you just said, because they knew Cyanide would put focus onto Freddy, so that's why Svenskeren was there ready to always counter gank and make sure Freddy would stay ahead, so he can delay sOAZ being strong 1v1 for as long as possible.
And look at the gold difference between Svenskeren and Cyanide. It's a nearly 2,000 gold differential between those junglers because Svenskeren has been there to counter every move the Cyanide makes and get the kill on top of it.
And he got the kill here. He did give up the first blood, but that's been the only bad move for him. Everything else have worked out for him pretty well. And it's actually funny to see how both teams have killed all the outer turrets for each other so early on in the game. It really shows we've had a lot of action and also a lot of shifting in the lanes.
Well, the mid lane is the focus at the moment. They're trying to look on towards Rekkles. Rekkles not going to get fooled by that one. Candy Panda being pursued by Peke. He's got to be careful. That's going to be a very close trade between the two. The fact he's got that DFG should be able to burst him down, but SK are pushing on towards his middle turret.
and they're doing what they can do with this combo, despite Nidalee actually not being there. When she joins in with the team, starts landing these spears, the siege combo from SK will force Fnatic to actually hard engage, and the only hard engage they have here is either Cyanide coming from behind or the side, or xPeke landing a charm or bind from YellOwStaR.
Slow reactions from Fnatic, they're not too sure whether they are needed. This time the charm does land on Svenskeren. xPeke puts some good damage down, but wow, that Spiderling doing a heck of a lot. Now then nRated, he's going to get dived on here, but YellOwStaR, the ultimate runs off there. There is one kill and nRated goes down. They can turn this one, but SK Gaming are not done yet. They're going to try and keep this siege running.
But we saw both the charm landing first for xPeke onto Svenskeren, and then we saw the binding from YellOwStaR onto nRated, so they picked up the kill they want, they got the fight they want, and now they're going on to sOAZ.
The cocoon on sOAZ not really the target they wanted. Svenskeren taking a few unnecessary shots from that tower. SK Gaming are trying to last this siege out, and Fnatic, well, they're trying to do a relay race back to that fountain. Cyanide getting caught out, getting stunned out by Freddy, while the rest of the team continuing to beat it down. They really wanted that inner turret, but the teleport from sOAZ coming into the top lane. Fnatic are going to chase on this one. sOAZ continues to chase on there. He's got that pillar of ice, if he can land it. Goes on towards Svenskeren, bounces him back away though. Fnatic may try and take advantage of this one and push the mid lane, which is why SK Gaming, they're just turning this one back around.
And we actually saw how hard it was for sOAZ to find a target to use his pillar and ice off, because you have to dash on Renekton, and obviously you have to dash onto Lucian, and also Nidalee can jump over it in Cougar form. So very hard for him to pick a target. Wisely enough, he actually saved it for Svenskeren, but the rest of Fnatic weren't in a position to catch up.
Right, sOAZ keeping his eye on Freddy. They know that Freddy's not there. It is actually the Dragon, so they know this is a 4v5 opportunity. Fnatic may well try and challenge this one.
Cyanide is far away though, he's all the way down in the base, so there's no smite, and they're not even able to go in here and actually contest this one.
Fast Dragon, but now they're going to have to run and try and defend Fnatic. You can see sOAZ, he wants to use that pillar to try and head off the entire team. Uses the ward to keep their vision. The rest of Fnatic pushing up, trying to get this inner turret. Freddy is making his way around there. SK kind of caught out of position here, and nRated's going to be the one to take the front brunt of this damage, but they're going to come around the side. The culling comes on there. xPeke's forced back away. sOAZ is caught up. Freddy's chasing on towards him. It's a deep, deep hook from nRated. He goes very deep. Cyanide pays the price. He gets caught out there. Fantastic play from the support, and now sOAZ, he's in trouble. Flashes away. The Ignite was running. Freddy gets another slice and slices through sOAZ. It's 2 kills for SK Gaming. What a counter!
And that hook followed up by the box from nRated. He got into the middle of the entire Fnatic team because xPeke actually dashed away. And now SK going towards this Baron. 5 members alive, only 3 members from Fnatic, and xPeke is all the way down in the base.
This is actually doable. SK Gaming making some big plays here. There was a counter to the counter to the counter to the counter. It's gone from middle tower to Dragon to middle tower of SK Gaming, and now to the Baron. And it's SK Gaming that will take this one. Fnatic not even near it.
No, Fnatic decides not to try and fight for it. Rekkles is out of mana, and at the same time, YellOwStaR all the way down to 50% HP, so they didn't feel like they could do anything. And SK Gaming picks up a very early Baron actually, and very nice move from them, and now they can really use this Nidalee to just go down 5 members, start firing away the spears, and if they land one, they can go towards the turret.
And with that Zhonya's Hourglass completed, if xPeke does choose to focus him, he will be very quick hitting that golden Nidalee. sOAZ himself, well, he's having to have a rough time in this top lane. He's been trying to focus with Freddy alongside Cyanide, but Svenskeren really has stopped them every step of the way. It's something that we're getting quite used to saying for SK Gaming these days.
But Fnatic did actually do the right thing here early game, because they put the focus onto the only lane they would actually lose by itself. That was the Trundle up top, so they did the right thing there. At the same time, xPeke won the mid lane. We saw the bot lane taking the turret as well after the Dragon. So overall, we can't say Fnatic haven't done a good job, but the combo from SK, at least in the last team fight we saw, with Renekton and obviously with the great hook from nRated followed by the box, was simply such strong play from SK, and Fnatic, they couldn't do anything to it.
Well, Randy and Zerman is now being completed by Freddy. Meanwhile, sOAZ has still not got that Sunfire cape complete, so he really can't get close to Freddy. Meanwhile, we see SK Gaming, they have 4 members running down that mid lane. Sorry, 3 members. nRated's lagging a little bit behind. He's trying to catch up. They want that inner turret. They may well get it, but Freddy's in trouble in the top lane. He's going to have to use that dominance. He tries to focus on xPeke. He's going to go down. He's just simply buying time for the rest of his team now. And SK Gaming, they know they've got some free time. They can push on this in.
They might even be able to go on to the next turret, because xPeke and sOAZ are recalling now. There will be some time before here, and they will get it.
They're going to get the tower down. Can they get the inhibitor? I think they might do. There's a lot of damage going to go on towards it, that's for sure. xPeke comes in there. Oh, good dodge from Svenskeren. Lantern gets thrown down. They're not going to take the Lantern. Now he steps towards it. Cyanide in trouble. He might get caught out. The Ignite's running. I'm not too sure it's going to be enough. It will be, and nRated gets the kill. Wow. What a turn and burn for SK Gaming, and that's the problem when you leave yourself so exposed up a Baron team.
Yeah, Fnatic invested 2 members on to try and kill Freddy, and yes, he did go down, but it just meant the rest of SK pushed all the way down, got both the inhibitor and also a kill on the Cyanide, so very nice trade for SK.
So bottom lane is now the focus for SK Gaming, and 4 members come down here. Freddy's a long way off, of course, but they may well get on towards this inner turret. Spear comes in, lands on Peke. That's Fnatic having to back away. Another inner turret. This is 3 turrets already for SK Gaming with this Baron buff.
And that's just the pain of playing against Nidalee. Either you hard engage instantly so you don't get hit by these spears, or you get hit, you go back to base, you buy your home guards, and then you try and come back and join in for the fight.
So much damage coming out of SK Gaming. The calling on YellOwStaR, he goes down, and now SK Gaming, oh, Jesiz is going to get caught out, but Peke gets popped straight away, and it's a double kill for Panda. Now they're turning on towards it. Svenskeren running in towards Cyanide. Freddy gets on towards him. Cyanide's going to go down. SK Gaming are just ruining Fnatic's day. They could finish the game right here.
They can finish it, and Jesiz, he managed to pop his Sonya's before he actually died, when the charm was gone, and SK, they're just pushing on.
What a turnaround. All that counterplay action in the mid lane has led to SK Gaming finishing the game in quick style. It's a 27-minute game, ladies and gentlemen. El Classico, I'm not sure. SK Gaming just wrecked Fnatic.
And that's how you use a Baron buff. They picked it up, they actually had it even when they ended the game. Such a strong performance by SK, just turning it on when it really mattered.
Fantastic play, and wow. We talked about the Nidalee pick for Jesiz, and actually while it didn't have a great impact, it did enough, and it was those pokes, those spears, that just kept the flow going. When they attacked those inhibitors, someone caught the spear every time. First it was Cyanide, then it was YellOwStaR, then it was Peke, and they just kept falling, spear after spear, and well, Panda, he just ate them up.
Panda was there to finish him up when they got low, and also we have to highlight, of course, Freddy and Svenskeren. The entire early game was fights up in the top lane, went in favor of SK due to the counter ganks. It simply also meant that Freddy was so strong. We actually saw him in the team fight in mid, caught up to sOAZ, 1v1'd him, just killed him, no chance for sOAZ to do anything, and then they went on to Baron afterwards.
What an incredible turnaround this season has been for SK Gaming, because they started out the season, you know, they were 2-0 down in the promotion series. They pulled that round, they got themselves 3-2, and we were like, well, it was a great turnaround, but they're going to really have a rough season. But they have really stepped it up. I'd say the last month now, they are such a strong team. And you were talking to Panda earlier on today, and you know he said it, he hit the nail on himself. There's no egos in that team. If someone's having a problem on a champion, they will say so, and they will help themselves out, or they will change that champion.
And that's simply the main thing. If you can solve your issues, if you can actually point them out, if you have someone, maybe a coach or a manager, helping you doing these things, pointing out the issues, and then you fix them, you become this very, very strong team so fast, because we knew they were good players. We also knew they had some inexperienced players, and Jesiz, for instance, and as soon as he got a few games under his belt, he started learning a few different champions actually. We saw a lot of set for him in the relegation. Only played it once, didn't go too well for him, been sticking now to these very long-range champions, and it's working for SK, and the whole tactic is working for them.
And it was such a big challenge for SK, the brand itself, because changing 4 players coming into the LCS from the summer split to the spring split of 2014, it really has been a big turnaround. There's Alex on your screen. He is the owner of SK Gaming, and he's been helping them, and you can see he's doing everything for them. He's packing up for Svenskeren. He's making sure he's well looked after. That jungler is doing a fantastic job for him.
He's just shining, and that's Svenskeren from the very first split we saw in the LCS, where he was